Depression to me means being in a very sad place where you are unable to find any positivity.
Depression means to me means being very unhappy and not being able to do your jobs that you normally do.
Depression to me is a disorder where people are feeling isolated, sad, they're not very motivated.
Depression to me is something that's a very serious disorder, a mental disorder, and shouldn't be taken lightly at all. I used to think, before I actually knew all about depression, was just, I'll suck it up and get over it. You'll be right. But it's not that easy.
Depression's more than just feeling sad, because everyone feels that way sometimes. It's more than just feeling a bit anxious, because everyone feels that way sometimes.
Quite common to talk to people that haven't had depression. They look at you and say, you look well, why are you depressed? Just pull your socks up and get on with your life, but they don't really understand what you're going through.
Watch my mum suffer with depression a lot, and it's really hard to watch someone that is suffering so much. You try and help them out as much as you can, and it just has to be there. Family have to be there to be supportive and, realise that it is an illness. It's not just something that they're making up in their minds.
I'm not interested in anything that's going on at the moment and can't get themselves out of that.
Being sad and not being able to help yourself.
Sometimes it means feeling desperately alone and wanting companionship, but at the same time not wanting to have to deal with anybody at all.
To hear about other people being depressed, it's very hard to comprehend if you've not felt that yourself.
Yes, I have. It made me feel terrible. I couldn't eat, I lost weight, couldn't sleep. And just sort of went into a real, just curl up on the lounge and not want to do anything. Yeah.
Probably in little bits and pieces I have in different times. I think everybody suffers from a bit of depression from time to time. It's just a matter of, if it's how you handle it. It is really hard to do.
To actually have been depressed, I don't believe that I've ever experienced being depressed.
I was first diagnosed with depression in my 30s. I suffer from reactive depressions.
I probably suffered it a little bit when I had my children because, even though I loved having them dearly, but after being out in the workforce for so long and then being home with two small children and not seeing anybody, just a few select people, you do get lonely. But yeah, I worked through that.
I myself don't think that I've suffered from depression, or I don't think I have.
Depression for me tends to come as a result of ongoing stress.
I've had a lot of friends with depression, more than what you think, and it's all been through family problems or broken marriages, and it's quite common.
Have a very close family member that did go through some depression. He was irritable, lonely, had no motivation, didn't really want to do anything, couldn't get out of his own shadow. He sort of felt very isolated with what was going on.
The barrier would come if you lived by yourself or the elderly person had no family around them to notice the change in that elderly person.
I never had any trouble. I got help straight away as soon as I knew what was going on. I went to the doctors and they put me on tablets. And
as you get older, people think it's just the norm that you're going to be that lonely person that doesn't want to do anything. I think there's lots of help out there, but don't think that the elderly are trying to access it as much as the young people. I think they feel that it's an embarrassment to have to contact anyone with regards to help with the mental health industry.
Yes, probably there. I would say that there is. A lot of older people would probably just be described as not with depression, but you're just getting older and it's just part of being old. But that's wrong. A lot of older people are isolated a lot and have to stay home, haven't got any form of getting out to get medical advice, and they just feel so alone. You know, a lot of elderly don't have family around them to support them, and or a vehicle or anything like that to get them to get medical help.
I did, but I had some good friends that went through the same thing, and they were a real help to me. I could talk to them about it because they understood what it was about, whereas someone that was never depressed never had any idea what it was like.
See the doctor, say, on a regular basis, but most times, you know, Meals on Wheels people would only be there for a very short period, and the doctor, and maybe they don't pick up the change in the personality or the being of that person.
Yeah, there's probably quite a few barriers that I don't even understand a lot, but people just need to be aware of it and that it is out there and it's a very serious disorder to have.
In mental health nursing, it's very patient focused, very patient oriented. Patient in front of you. You need to collect the information, you need to find out what's happened, why this person has come to you. You need to be able to process that information so that you can start formulating some plans. There's the identification of problems and issues. Found that things like surgical nursing, medical nursing, it's all quite task oriented. And the patient's goals are generally very much the same as the goals that can be identified by the nursing staff and by the health service. And I'll use surgical nursing as the example. Both the goals of the patient and of the nursing staff will be to have them recover from their surgery, to be as pain-free as they possibly can, to start mobilising, and to be able to be well enough to be discharged from the hospital. In mental health nursing, the whole concept is by and large far more psychosocially driven. Working in mental health and drug and alcohol services, you very quickly learn that people's goals on a psychosocial spectrum can be markedly different from ours as health professionals. And in mental health nursing, we have to take a step back and remember that it's the patient's goals that are important. It's what they want to work towards. We can guide, and we can gently question about whether something might be detrimental to them, but ultimately it is their decision.